Hey, it's Dougie Wood, and in this video, I'm going to give you training to show you step by step exactly how you can build your own SharePoint list. We're going to look at building a list completely from scratch. I'm going to teach you everything you need to know, including things like adding columns, the different types of columns, how to add in data quickly, and show you a use case that I love, which is creating a IT known issues list, which we can then embed directly onto the IT help desk SharePoint site that users can see before they submit a brand new support ticket. So let's dive in and take a look at how we build this. Okay, so the first step when it comes to creating your SharePoint list is to navigate to the SharePoint site that you want your list to live on. Now I want this to live on my IT help desk. And this is going to be a list of all the kind of known issues and outages and things like that the IT help team are actually already dealing with. And we're going to display this on the homepage of our IT help desk SharePoint site so that before someone comes and raises a new support ticket with us, they can see a list of known issues that we're already working on and maybe the expected next update or when we expect the fix to take place. So to create a SharePoint list, we can click on the new button across the top and then click on list. Now this is going to pop out a little window which is going to help us create our SharePoint list. Now there's a number of ways that we can create our SharePoint list. Either from blank, which is what I'm going to do in a moment. We could create it from an existing list. So say for example, I had another list which was very identical to what I wanted to create. I could duplicate it. Or I could even import an Excel spreadsheet or a CSV, including the data, not just the columns, but the data as well from the Excel document or CSV to create my SharePoint list as well. Also, there's a whole host of templates that Microsoft offer to you completely for free to give you an idea of what you could possibly achieve. So an issue tracker is actually quite close to what I'm going to be designing, but it's probably a bit overkill. It's got too many columns for what I need. But you can see here it's giving me a good idea of the types of things that I could achieve with a SharePoint list. It's also worth going through some of the other templates as well, because there's some fantastic use cases here that you might not have considered. Things like employee onboarding, asset managers, work trackers, things like that to give you an idea of what you could be building SharePoint lists for. But I say I'm going to create mine completely from blank. So I can click on blank list and then I'm going to give it a name. So this is where I might just put known issues, and description would be IT issues we are currently aware of and working on. And we can choose to add this into our site navigation if we wanted to, but because I'm going to add this onto the homepage of this IT help desk site, I'm going to untick that because I don't need a link to it on the top. Then I'm going to click on create. So this is now going to create to me my list, but as I say, it's completely blank. It's not going to have any columns in it. The only column that it will have by default is called title. It's just a single piece of text. Now, if I click on add new item, you'll see what this SharePoint form looks like now when I come to add in new rows into the list. And at the moment, it's only just got title in here. But actually, I'm going to probably have a couple of additional columns in here as well. So I'm going to put in here maybe a couple of additional columns. Maybe I want to put a description of what the issue is, maybe countries that we know that it's affecting, and then maybe we'll put like an update column to sort of say what the latest update is, and maybe we'll have another column which will say date and time of the next update for this issue. Then what we'll do is we'll be adding this list onto the homepage of our IT help desk. So now we need to add some extra columns into this list. To do that, we can click on this add column and it's going to show us different types of columns that we can add. So we have text, which is just single line of text, which is exactly like what we've seen inside of this title field. We've got choice. Now this is basically where you've got a drop down option and you can either select one or multiple choices to tag against it. This will be perfect for having something like the countries that we expect that this issue is going to be impacting. We have date and time, which is essentially like a calendar picker where we can select a date and even a time. So that would be perfect for things like when the issue was raised or when we think the next update will be. Multiple lines of text is perfect for the kind of description of the issue. So this is much more detailed, and even you can have rich text formatting if we want to add in things like bold or underlined text, things like that. Person is fantastic for tagging people against it, and it will look up your kind of Microsoft 365 users. So if you wanted to tag someone against it. So in this scenario, it might be who raised the issue. It might be who's dealing with the issue. It's a fantastic way to kind of tag people against something. We've got number. So this might be like if we wanted to give it a ID of the issue, for example, or if we just wanted to order these by, say, priority, we could have a numbering sequence as well that we could use to sort or filter the list afterwards. Yes or no is basically just a column which will either be it's basically a checkbox. So it's either yes or it's no. So it could be, is this a P1 priority, yes or no? Hyperlink. Now, this is just literally providing a link to a web page, image, or other online resource. And essentially, you need to have a hyperlink URL to link to it. So in this scenario, it might be linking to the actual more information. If it will say an outage that's been caused by a third party, maybe it's linking out to more information on their page. Currency is exactly like number, but it's just a currency. It's not going to be used in this type of scenario, but let's say, for example, this list was tracking assets and we wanted to have a value column. So say, for example, a laptop might say it's £1,000, a mobile phone, £500, whatever it is, we could put that currency against it. Location. Now, this is actually using a map locations or even a room in your building where you can tag a specific location. Image is essentially exactly what it says on the tin. It's just a image that you're tagged against it. So say, for example, if this was known issues and they weren't IT issues, maybe they were so for example, we've worked with organizations in the past before which have been out in the field and they found problems with like machinery and things like that. Maybe they've taken a picture of the issue and they've tagged a picture against that particular item in the list. Managed metadata is essentially a set of terms or tags which are much more detailed than just a choice column that we were looking at before. It's more detailed type of tagging. So let's say, for example, the best way I can describe this is everyone's been on clothing websites before and you're looking for a particular type of clothing item. You might go into a website and on the navigation, it'll have things like men's clothing, and then the drop down, it'll say t-shirts or trousers or jumpers or things like that. Then when you click into t-shirts, it'll then have sizes. So it'll then say, well, what size is it? Is it small, medium, large, extra large, double XL? And then what color is it? Is it blue? Is it pink? Is it black? Those essentially all manage metadata type columns where you can drill down. So I could choose, for example, an extra large black t-shirt, and then that's filtering down hundreds of thousands of products down to something very small. And that's essentially the way that we could use managed metadata, is to apply very finite drill down tags to really refine data. Now, again, I wouldn't necessarily use that in this known issues list because I think there's just going to be overkill. It's going to be too much inside of this particular list. We have lookup. So if we're looking up data from a different list and pulling something in, so if I had another list of maybe products or things like that, I could maybe look up what the known issue related to and pull that into this list. Average rating is just let multiple people rate an item and see the average rating. Again, we wouldn't necessarily use that against this, or we can add in our own custom bespoke content type. Now, as I say, I'm going to add in here a description. So I'm actually going to scroll up and I'm going to go to the multiple lines of text, click on next, and the name of this column is just going to be description. You can give the column a description as well, again, confusing a description of the description, but I don't necessarily think you necessarily need to do that. Then I'm going to click on save, which is going to add my column in here. And again, if I click on add new item, now you can see that this form is starting to come together. We're getting more sort of fields that we can add items into in here. So let's add some more columns. So now let's add in a choice field, and we're going to say what countries that this is impacting. So we might say the UK, the US, wherever else, France. We can add more columns in here. And maybe we would just want to add another option of all countries. Again, we can color code this if we wanted to. So if we wanted to pick any particular colors, we can choose from some predefined colors in here, which makes it easier to kind of visually see afterwards as well. We can also choose a default option. Now, we probably wouldn't necessarily do that for this case, but if there was a scenario where you're creating a list where 9 times out of 10, it's going to be one of these options, then you could always choose a default as well. So it just saves you time having to type that in or select it from the list when you're adding new items into your SharePoint list. Then click on save, and then there we go. We've got another column, and then one final, actually 2 extra columns. We'll add a multiple lines of text again, and this will be our update column. This is where we're going to provide updates on that issue, and then also we're going to add another column which will be a date and time, where we're going to say next update expected. Date and time, include the time as well. Yes. Friendly format is just basically going to shorten it down, but we don't necessarily need to do that. Again, we have a default value, so we can put maybe today's date against that, but in this case, I'm just going to leave it. Click on save, and there we go. We've now got all of our columns in here ready to go. But before I show you how we add in the content and add it to our SharePoint page, I want to ask a quick favor. If you're enjoying this video, please do subscribe to my channel. It's a free way that you can say thank you to me, and I really appreciate it. If you do need any professional services or help setting up SharePoint, you can contact me using the link inside of the bio area of my YouTube page. So there we go. We've added our columns. We now want to add in some example known issues. If I click on add new item, I can add them in individually. So say, for example, there might be a email outage. People in France cannot access their emails. Getting error message. We can then say what countries it affects. So we know it's affecting France. And then maybe we could put a little update in here. So we'd say we are currently investigating, next update expected, and then we could say, for example, we think it's going to be at 9 AM tomorrow, and then click on save. So there we go. We've now got this, and I might just choose to move these columns around just a little bit, like so. If you're moving the columns around, remember, just go on to save view, click on save, just to make sure they stay where they are. And another useful tip to know with SharePoint lists is you don't have to click on add new item each time. You can click on this edit in grid view, which puts it into more like a spreadsheet mode. And then again, we can add in some issues here. So we could say VPN connection failure. Users in the UK are having problems with their VPN to on-premise servers. So again, put UK. Maybe there's no update on this one yet, but we again expect there will be an update tomorrow at, say, 11 AM. Let's add one more in here. So maybe when opening laptops, getting a blue screen of death. And maybe we're saying this is impacting people in Germany. Update. We are investigating, but think that this is an issue with the hardware. Whatever it is. Obviously, this is just an example. Again, next update expected tomorrow at 4 PM, for example. Cool. So then to save all of this, we just click on exit grid view, and that's then saved this to our list, and we've got all that data ready to go. Now, we want to make this as easy as possible for our end users to find this information. So again, we're going to embed this onto the home page of our IT help desk. I'm going to go back to the home page by clicking on home, and then I'm going to add a web part to the page. I think it probably best sits underneath this images here. So to do that, I'm going to click on edit to edit the page. Then I'm going to scroll down, and then where I want to add the web part, I'm going to hover, click on the plus to add a new web part into this column. Then I'm looking for the list web part, click on list, and it's going to show me the list that I currently have on this SharePoint site. Now it's the known issues that I want to add to this list. So now you can see here, but I don't want necessarily all this additional bar across the top. I think it's just adding too much complexity, and I'm not going to add new items directly from here. I don't want it to confuse users. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on to edit the properties of this web part, and I'm going to choose to hide the command bar, and also I'm going to hide the see all button across the top because I don't want them to go into the list. And then I'm going to click on apply, and that's then taken all of that away, and I can see my known issues here. Click on republish. Click on republish again, and then there we go. We've got a list of known issues on our SharePoint IT help desk. So as soon as people land on here, before they click on submit a ticket, they might just catch that we've seen these known issues here. They can see the latest issue, they can see the description, the countries it's impacting, the update, and when the next update is expected.